the Chara supply chain, highlighting and showcasing solutions for the most complex challenges facing the industry in 21st century by our team of subject matter experts and mentors, broadcasting every week all year round. We will present the most up-to-date series of podcasts and webinars.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bicara Supply Chain. This is Nurhadi House. My guest today is Erik, Valiquette, co-founder and president of the Canadian Blockchain Supply Chain Association. Thank you for being here, Erik. It's great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's absolutely fantastic to be talking with you today.
Okay, so in today's episode, we are going to talk about how can business leaders use blockchain technology. So Erik, can you please brief a little bit about yourself and as a co-founder and president of the Canadian Blockchain Supply Chain Association, what's a mission of the association?
Sure, thanks for asking. So I come from the logistics industry. I grew up with freight forwarders and customs brokers, moving freight around the world, and I've been doing that for about 30 years. Part of my frustration, part of the challenges that we all know about these days in supply chain was running after information, running after data, right? So that's why when blockchain came around in our industry language, in supply chain, I became very interested about, 4 years ago, but quickly realized through conversation with industry peers that there was no real source of information focused on supply chain. We heard about Bitcoin a whole lot and cryptocurrencies, but from an enterprise perspective, not a whole lot of information. And that's why we created the association, is to bring information to the supply chain industry. And as a matter of fact, we started off as the Canadian Blockchain Supply Chain Association to help the Canadian supply chain ecosystem, but we're growing and we're opening new chapters because there is interest globally. We're opening chapters in Australia, New Zealand, in Europe and in Latin America, and hopefully we'll be opening chapters in Asia as well very soon.
Awesome. All right, so to start off the discussion, Erik, how does blockchain technology improve the way companies do the business?
A great question. So think of the way that we do business today, and we have been doing business for the last 100 years, right? It's all about the pieces of paper that we exchange between ourselves, right? So in supply chain, in procurement, it can be a purchase order that we send. In logistics, it could be a carrier's bill of lading that we exchange with the next party. But that has made for a very inefficient way of doing business. Think of the bill of lading, right? So you're picking up a container from somewhere in Asia and maybe bringing it to North America. That piece of paper, the bill of lading, for example, can exchange hands dozens of times. And if we rely on this piece of paper to do business, it's inefficient, it slows down the process. And there are different ways to improve those processes. And that's why, especially since the pandemic, the piece of paper was not as efficient anymore, and that's why the whole industry is looking at digitization. How blockchain technology specifically can improve that? Well, it brings a layer of trust to this digital information, and it brings a better way to exchange that information in real time. So going back to the old ways, right? Remember that piece of paper, that bill of lading. So the manufacturer somewhere in Asia might be giving that piece of paper to a trucking company. The trucking company brings it to the port, gives it to the terminal operator. The terminal operator would give it to the ship captain. The ship captain, with his big pile of paper, walks up the stairs up to his ship, right, with this big pile of paper. Might take 2, 3, 4 weeks to cross the ocean over to North America. Same thing, walks down the stairs with this big pile of paper, right? All the ship's bill of ladings, all the documentation, the commercial invoices, the packing list, the certificates of origin, all the required paperwork, and gives that to the terminal operator at destination, who in turn might give it to customs, who stamps all these pieces of paper and releases to the importer or the buyer at destination. So that process is very inefficient. And what blockchain does is digitize this, right? So it's not a physical piece of paper that could be lost, maybe human errors, forged, you name it, right? A lot of inefficiencies. And by making it digital, it helps with the process, and also helps with the timeliness of information, and specific to blockchain, since it is real time and they are under shared ledgers. The person entering information at origin and the person waiting for the information at destination all have visibility to that same information in real time, right? And can make better business decisions. And one of the great examples I was given is the port of Montreal, where I am here in Canada, has instant visibility to the containers being picked up in India, for example, and can start his business planning immediately instead of having to wait 30 days for those physical pieces of paper to cross the ocean. So he can plan his labor, he can plan his equipment in the port, he can plan all his resources. So it makes for a much better way to do business, much more efficient, and a lot less waste.
Awesome. And for the business leaders, what are key things really need to know about the blockchain technology?
So for us supply chain folks, right? Myself, I'm not an IT person. I can't code to save my own life. I wish I could, but there's much smarter people to do that.
Yeah.
So what the supply chain folks need to know is that it's not really about the technology. It's the way we use that technology to transform the way we do business. Again, right, that piece of paper becomes digital, real-time information, trusted information. How do you look at your network of trading partners, from suppliers, manufacturers, to carriers, to government agencies, to regulatory agencies as well, sometimes that are different, to our clients? How do we exchange information in a better way to make the whole supply chain much more efficient? And again, right, the last year has shown us how chaotic supply chains can be, and we need to look at the way we do business and how we exchange information with all our partners in a different way. And I believe, and I'm a very big believer, that blockchain technology does this. And something we often say is, back in the maybe the 80s or 90s, did we all put our business on the internet, right? No, we did not. Did we care when we started putting our business on the internet that TCP/IP was the basis of those communications? No, we did not. It happened. We trusted the information, but we started adjusting our way of doing business with this new technology. And blockchain, I'm a very, very firm believer, is going to be the next level of evolution in how we do business in our global supply chains, by exchanging information in a different manner. Today, we don't see blockchain as a useful tool the same way that we didn't see the internet maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago, because the internet's been around for that long. In 5, 10 years, we'll all say, yeah, blockchain's powering this, and it makes so much sense. So let's start looking at how we do business today, how we exchange information between different trading partners, and just be aware that the technology is there, but it's more about the transformational nature of the technology that we as supply chain professionals need to be aware of.
Awesome. So, Erik, can you explain to the listeners what are opportunities around blockchain technology, particularly in the supply chain management?
The best way I can give you is by some concrete examples, right? There are beautiful examples in production today. There are even better ideas coming down the pipeline for the future. But today, blockchain technology is being used. My favorite example, and yes, I am absolutely biased because I am in Canada, but Walmart Canada and DLT Labs have a very famous blockchain use case. And they've been at it for about a year. They've been doing it for a year. It's proven, and it's bringing results on a day-to-day basis. So what Walmart Canada has done is to put their freight payment process on a blockchain-based platform. So imagine this, you have a distribution center, right, where all the goods are stored for Walmart Canada, and you have stores across the country. They have thousands of Walmart stores in Canada. They rely on external trucking companies to pick up those goods from the distribution center and bring it to the Walmart store. Prior to using blockchain, what they did is they would issue a pickup request, right? So the trucking company would come to this distribution center, pick up the goods, get to the Walmart store. Per the contract, I think they have 30 minutes to offload the truck. And if it goes beyond this 30 minutes because the store is too busy or there are too many trucks in the yard, the trucking company can charge Walmart for additional fees, for surcharges. So in many of the cases, and up to 70% of the cases, this would happen. So the trucking company would send an invoice with extra charges that Walmart didn't anticipate in the transportation. So Walmart would take that invoice, question it, so put it in a dispute mechanism. So they would question the trucking company, hey, why are you billing me these extra charges? Right. So instead of as an example, instead of invoicing $100, they would charge $110. So Walmart would say, hey, why this extra $10? Send an email back to the trucking company. The trucking company would say, well, I had to wait an extra 15 minutes. And per our contract, I'm allowed to bill you $10 extra. Sends an email back to Walmart. Walmart says, okay, I approve the dispute. I pay your invoice. Right. Very common in our industry. Something happens, we invoice, we dispute, then we pay. They identified 11 steps to this invoicing process. Now, using blockchain, they've been able to reduce the invoice process down to 5 steps and reduce the disputed amount on 500,000 shipments a year. Imagine this, 500,000 shipments a year, from 70% in dispute to down to below 2% in dispute. And let me explain to you how. They did this by co-creating the invoice. So when the shipment starts, when Walmart calls this trucking company and says, come pick something up, the invoice is generated at that point. If the trucking company arrives at the Walmart store and they have to wait, either Walmart headquarters can call the Walmart store and say, hey, you have 10 minutes left to offload the truck, otherwise we'll get a surcharge. Or they can pre-approve the extra charge because they know that the Walmart store is having issues today, right? So they can pre-approve that invoice with the dispute on it, thus eliminating the dispute altogether. And when the goods are delivered, the trucking company is paid instantaneously. So, or per the contract, right? So this eliminated almost all the disputes. It's accelerating cash flow. Walmart is happy because they don't have to manage all these extra invoices generated through smart contracts on a blockchain platform. And the trucking company is absolutely happy because they get paid a lot faster. Walmart is even happier because they say, hey, I'm paying you faster. How about you give me a transportation discount? So it's win-win for everybody.
Awesome. All right, Erik, I actually still have a couple of questions, but we are running out of time. So thanks again for taking time with me today. And I look forward to speaking with you at another time.
At Bichara Supply Chain, we are committed to driving global perspective to embrace technological adaptation in improving process efficiencies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share Bichara Supply Chain. And stay tuned for the latest updates. To learn more, visit our website www.bicharasupplychain.com. Thank you for listening to us. We look forward to seeing you at our next episode.